known and for unknown reasons. The word left behind simply means to depart or not take along with. Someone yesterday or today may have left something behind, so excited about getting to the festivities today. Obviously, you and I brought everything we deemed necessary to make it to this conference. But what's important to us surviving may not be as important to Jesus. There are many times in our life that he will tell us, leave it behind. As Jesus immediately takes hold of his body from this journey through Samaria, he finds a seat on Jacob's well. As Jesus sat weary, thirsty, and needing a drink, a Samaritan woman comes to the well. And she has a water pot preparing to draw water. As Jesus begins his salvation one-on-one training with her, the woman seems puzzled and interested all at the same time. As he continues to speak to her, the more interested she becomes, but just can't figure out, why is he here? Or why is he talking to me? First of all, during this time period, Jews and Samaritans didn't associate. Secondly, men never approached women. And lastly, no one should have been at the well at this time.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You see, my brothers and my sisters, the tradition was that women would go very early in the morning and late so that they would not be out at the noonday. But this woman comes at the hottest time to draw water. You see, when she came, that was the hottest time. It was muggy, and I'm sure she was uncomfortable. Many times in our lives, when we're not living in a way that's pleasable to God, it makes us live uncomfortably. By her being uncomfortable, she was unable to understand because of her initial unwillingness to think outside of the box, to break culture and traditional barriers. Basically, Jesus was telling her the only way she could understand was to leave it behind. And what she had to leave behind was the sexual issues that she was dealing with. As I speak to you today, many of us are dealing with some issues that are in our life. And the only way Jesus can really use us is if we leave them behind. Somebody may be saying, well, he's using me right now. But just imagine how much more he could use you if you would put it down so you would have more to give him. As this woman leaves behind her sexual issues, Jesus reveals himself to her as being living water. Once Jesus does this, she leaves in excitement and joy, but she leaves her water pot behind. Now this woman has the same problem or issue that Jesus had. You do remember that Jesus did not have a water pot. And the Samaritan woman was questioning him, how would he be able to get water? Now we see that the Samaritan woman has the same problem. But notice that she is now comfortable and not worried about physical water. But she But all that we need to survive is spiritual things. Earlier I told you that some things that we feel are important to survive. However, Jesus may not feel that they're important to survive. As the woman arrived on the scene, she had a water pot ready to use. However, when she experienced Jesus, it was left behind, still unused. What Jesus is looking for you and I when we come into worship is to come in one way and experience him, so that we may be able to leave behind all the baggage. So then when we're able to leave, we can go out with joy and excitement, ready to tell someone about how we experienced Jesus. My brothers and sisters, simply this is what the Samaritan woman did after the encounter with Jesus. Isn't it good to know that he will fix it after a while? And when he fixes it, he'll put a clap in your hand. He'll put a run in your step. He'll put a praise in your mouth. If you don't believe me, just simply look at the text. The Samaritan, after she experienced Jesus, she went out and said, come see a man. Come see a man who told me everything. I don't know about you, but I want to see that same man. As I say good evening to you, I'm reminded of a woman named Helen Keller. She came into the world physically blind and deaf. Helen was very defiant, mean, hateful as she grew up. She was very demanding and got what she wanted from her family. See, her family treated her differently because she had a disability. They wasn't willing to discipline her or teach her how she should act and how she should respond to people. So they treated her like a charity case. But one day, Helen met her match. And she met her match by a teacher named Ann Sullivan. Ann Sullivan came into the house and began to work with her. It took some time, but Ann Sullivan got into Helen. And when she began to work with her, there was a transformation. There was a change in her attitude. She left behind her defiant moods, her childish behavior, and poor attitude while being homeschooled. As a result, Ann helped Helen learn sign language. Also, Helen went on to become the first deaf and blind person to receive a bachelor's degree. Once Helen left behind her issues and past experiences, she was able to be used. Helen and Ann's friendship continued to grow, and Helen built a loving and caring relationship with Ann Sullivan. One day, as